Alrighty, we back, boys. Welcome to another video. So, it's currently Monday right now, and they have actually refreshed the Fated Summons. The previous Fated Summon, I did not collect all. I did not choose all the heroes because I was kind of hoping to save, and I didn't do that many pulls anyways. So, we do have a new, fresh batch of Fated Summon heroes, and let's have a look at it before I give my feedback on it. So, on the first row, you get Season 1 heroes. This is a norm for Fated Summons. They still think it is necessary to put some of these Season 1 heroes in. Kagan, Elkanon, Thorn, Leonidas, and Domitia. I would say it is, something that you can, one thing that you can consider is that if you do have the double costumes, so like for example, if you have Kagan and his two other costumes, then or any one of these heroes, then maybe it's worth getting the these heroes in case you would need extra copies of those to level. I know people like double costume Leonidas a lot. I myself use double costume Domitia and Thorn, and I know some people do like the double costume on Elkanon as well. So I guess that's something that one can consider. The second row is previous hero of the months. So Kiona, Bai Yang, who's been buffed recently, was a very minimal buff. Frida, which I think this one is the hot pick. Margaret and Enzo. Enzo is pretty trash. Margaret is very, very outdated. Frida is interesting for events. So if you need a 5-star elemental defense down for Titans or for events, then you can potentially pick Frida. The thing about Frida that you need to understand is that she dispels buffs. So if you want to use her for events, make sure you do cast her before you use someone like Costume Gunnar or Wilbur or Ilmarinen. So that's something to consider as well. Bayang, I think they did buff the snipe damage, although 370% for a sniper, it's still pretty trash. So not something that I would consider. I think out of the second line, I think Frida and potentially Margaret are the ones that people might consider. Not too sure about Margaret though. I think that minimal defense, it's minimal damage, is pretty useless. And but I can see something like maybe you can pair her together with some of the slower speed heroes that you have, and then maybe you can just buff them up and see how it goes from there. But that's about it. The third line is where they introduce something new. These are basically all challenge event heroes. Red Hood is from the Grim Forest family. You get Morgan Le Fay from Avalon, Rumpelstiltskin from Grim Forest as well, Guardian Owl from the Guardians of Teltalk family, and Sargasso from Pirates of Corellia. None of them scream out to me. If you do have the costume for Rumpelstiltskin, he can be legit, I guess. Red Hood, if I remember, she does have a costume, or is it only for Puss in Boots? I don't remember, but yeah, this one is also interesting to go against Luna. The problem with this is that she's average speed, whereas Luna is fast. So it's not all the time that you get that that counter up in time against Luna. Sargasso, guess dealing damage to a target and minor damage to nearby, not so good nowadays. You would prefer it to be evenly distributed, so at least that's a kill tree that you can rely on. So, and then pretty dated stats as well. So yeah. And the final row, they have Valhalla heroes. So Baldur, again, mana reduction, resist, good against Luna if you're having trouble against Luna. Although his costume is definitely a much better upgrade over the regular side. Frigg, same thing as well. The costume is out. Maybe if you enjoy using the costume, maybe you can use Frigg as well. There's Fenrir. Even him as the regular or the costume is pretty bad. Norns is interesting because Norns, you can use her for Mythic Titans. You can use her for wars if you need to have a good hit tree. She's one of the harder hitting hit trees for Holy, although her stats are pretty dated without the costume, so be mindful of that. And finally, the biggest troll in the game, Salmon Loki. His costume did come out. I've maxed his costume. I've used him once. I don't think you'll see people being too happy about this, because you imagine at this spot at purple, you could essentially go for someone like Freya, Vera, maybe even Alfreg as well for this level. And I think mid tier or to low tier people who play, especially like those who are free to play or cheap to play, when they have accumulated this amount of pools, they will want something better than Salmon Loki. I mean, I appreciate Salmon Loki, but at this point you gotta think of the practicality of these kind of things, and putting a salmon there feels like an insult to people who have struggled so hard to accumulate the pools over a long period of time. So that's my feedback about this. I wish they had removed the season 1 row. Like, just bring some season 2 or maybe season 4. I mean, season 4 has been out for quite some time, so and it's getting pretty dated themselves. So you could have just put season 4, or even some of the older, additional older challenge event heroes. Like even a standard Guardian Panther without the costume would have been a much more welcome sight. You can even include costume, not the costume, I mean the regular side of Finley or something like that. So pretty disappointed with this Fated Summons. I feel like it's not doing justice to people who struggle to accumulate the amount of pulls that you need to achieve. 100 pulls from various portals might seem like it's not much, but for a person who's you don't really pay for all these gems and shit like that, you'll find it pretty hard to get it. So it's pretty disappointing for them. I mean, who the hell uses Guardian Owl or Morgan Le Fay these days? I mean, even in like not the top 100 wars, you don't see people talk about using Guardian Owl. I mean, it's pretty damn useless. So yeah, well, for me, I'm just gonna pick Frida because I desperately need a hit tree elemental defense down for events in blue. I might level her over 9 hitter beast for the time being, unless they bring back Tavern of Legends, in which case maybe there's a chance to get Costume Perseus. I don't know, but for the time being, it's just Frida and potentially. So for me, based on my roster, I would prefer getting so Frida is the first one, and then the rest of it is just basically filling up the gaps of whatever that I have not obtained. I think Margaret is one that I don't have, and I'll probably take a second Norns for to do something fun, and then after that I'll probably just leave it until the next. Well, there's 6 more months, so who knows where will I be after that game after 6 months. Damn. Anyways, Frida it is. Finally. And yeah, hope you guys pick the right. Hope you guys are okay with the Fated Summons, or if not, well, leave some comments. Any feedback would be appreciated. I'll catch you guys on the next video. GG.